The Lime-Flavored Network, the tastiest netcasts online. The Lime-Flavored Show is brought to you by Trish's Bakery at trishasbakery.com.
This is the Lime Flavored Show, episode 8. It's live on Monday, February 25th, 2013. I am your host, DJ Allen. This show, I should say right away, is brought to you by Trish's Bakery at trishasbakery.com. Just go to trishasbakery.com for all of your pet and human needs.
Also the reason you were late for your podcast.
It's also the reason I was late for this show. I do apologize. Anyway, first and foremost, oh, you know what? Let's start with something cool.
DJ's balancing act?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how well you can see this, but this is Blackwood, Oregon, where Dark Green happened. And I wanted to show it to you because I'm going to write stories in it. So I brought up the board that the players got to look at when they were when they were playing. So I mean, this is what they got to look at, and all these little marks. The yellow stickies are the district names, so I didn't have definitive outlines for it, but the coastal waters there, that's an actual bay and river system in Oregon. Now, I believe when I initially looked at it, I was looking at something incorrectly, and I thought it was further south than the Washington border, but I believe that's actually the Oregon-Washington border. Now, the fictional city of the fictional city of Blackwood, Oregon, is not on the border, but I wanted to bring that up so that I could get a full force picture, and then actually start posting some images and working on some images for the fiction, which I have begun working on. So I wanted to get that out there, but that's Blackwood. Hopefully you find that cool. Hi, one viewer. That you? It's not her. Hi. Anyway. Tonight's show, I wanted to do live because basically I didn't want to do this yesterday. Pre-record. So I'm doing this one live. And what this show is about is basically what I am watching. Now, the intent was to do what I'm watching on television, but I also want to include the movie here and there, and then what I would be watching if certain television stations were smarter than they actually are, because they're not very smart at the moment. So, what am I watching? Well, first off, let me say that my wife and I are cord cutters. We watch 99.9% of all of our television through Hulu and Netflix. There is the occasional, every once in a while, something that doesn't fit into one of those two categories.
Local news, if anything.
Local news, for instance, we don't watch on Hulu because it doesn't come on Hulu. So.
But they do have feedback.
Woo! want to give me some Kleenex. Anyway, so we watch 99.9% of our stuff online, and the rest of it we either watch through the over-the-air signal or other apps and such. But, I mean, most of it's coming through there. The problem with that is that certain companies, for instance, CBS, have absolutely nothing on Hulu and hardly anything on Netflix. And the catch with Netflix is Netflix is a year behind. So if it's season 3 of Walking Dead right now, for instance, season 2 is the latest season they have access to. I'm going to blow my nose live on camera. Thank you. Anyway, so what I am actually or what we're watching together, I went through our Hulu queue and made a, my eye is watering, terrible, made a general list of things that we're actively watching at the moment, and then if we find other stuff, go from there. But we are watching from ABC, Last Man Standing. That's Tim Allen's comedy. It is a sitcom. I watch it primarily because 2 of the 3 daughters are really hot. Do you like it?
Am I supposed to be on this show?
No, you don't have to be.
Oh, okay.
I'm not entirely sure Trish is 100% behind it, but that's okay because I still like it. And if they get political again, I'm not going to be very happy because they get really heavy-handed.
I can try calling again on my iPad.
Well, let me see if I can invite you. There you are. And I'm trying to invite the missus. And we are also watching The Following with Kevin Bacon and that other guy. Kevin Bacon, Iceman from the X-Men movies is one of them on there. And the serial killer guy is one I'm trying to remember, but I don't remember what his name is. It doesn't... I'm not going to look it up because my browser right now is very slow with me broadcasting. So, other than The Following, I am watching Arrow because I wasn't a Superman fan, and then I want to say it was season 5 of Smallville, a coworker where I was working at the time lent me the first season of Smallville, and the wife and I caught up on it. Like all the way. We shot right through most of it in a very short period of time. And it was season 7 where it wasn't season... we didn't watch season 7 live. I don't remember where we got season 7 from. But season 8 we were watching off of the CW as they came out. So we were basically live at that point, and we kept up with it till it was over. So I became a Superman fan because of Smallville. I am not, or haven't been, a Green Arrow fan, but Arrow is making me a Green Arrow fan. But the thing that I'm noticing is it's like the Smallville effect. I liked the Green Arrow in Smallville, and I like the Green Arrow on Arrow, but if I understand correctly, it's not the same Green Arrow. So I like the TV version better. We also watch Glee. She watched from season 1. I started probably midway through season 2. And the only reason I watched is because I like the theme shows where they do one artist all the way through, I think, is the way I like it best. I don't think you were destined to watch that or do that on the iPad.
Waiting for others to join.
Yeah, I just don't know how to help you with that. Okay, and so I don't necessarily... I don't mind Glee. I like Glee. I'm not a Gleek, but I enjoy it. We both enjoy it. We watch The Vampire Diaries because I need vampires in my life, I guess. And I was a fan of Lost, and I like Ian Somerhalder from Lost. When I found out he came over to Vampire Diaries, I was kind of intrigued, but we kind of caught up on Vampire Diaries midway through season 3, and we're watching that now, basically the straight through. We are watching Bob's Burgers because Bob's Burgers is hilarious. If we see Bob's Burgers on our queue, it's one of the ones where we will almost automatically just start it without asking the other one because we both want to see it. And if you're paying attention to the actors, despite the fact that there are 3 female characters as actors, or 3 female characters on the show, there's only 1 female actress that does the voices, and that would be Kristen Schaal for Louise, or the one with the bunny hat. That's the only female actress. Every other female voice, I believe, is done by a man, which should creep you out just a little. We, for instance, as soon as we're done with this broadcast, we will be watching Suburgatory. I find the redhead in that one hot also, but that one's a little over the top sometimes, but it's generally entertaining. Yeah, I like it, I think. We also watch Go On from NBC. Matthew Perry is a little annoying as normal. I've always found his characteristics annoying, but his supporting cast is really good. So it's the show itself is worth watching. So if you haven't watched Go On, you're going to want to check that out, and that's on Hulu. That's where we're watching that. Cat, you do not need to do that with the water. We are also watching The Mindy Project, but I couldn't tell you what channel that's on for the rest of you, for you normals. Yeah. NBC? I think it's on Fox.
I don't know.
Anyway, it stars the Indian chick from Kelly from The Office would be the character. When she disappeared from The Office, basically, I think is when she started on The Mindy Project. I like her much more on The Mindy Project. I just found her Office character very annoying, and that was the intention. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Another one that we watch without asking the other, basically, is... What do you...
It says the hangout is over.
No, it's not over. Let me try again. The other one we'll watch without really asking the other is Community. I am a big fan of Community. They're on their last half season because NBC wants to cancel them. I don't understand why. It's quite possibly the best show on TV. No? Okay. It's the best. I mean, it's awesome. It's just awesome. 1600 Pen, which is on NBC, has turned out to be a lot better than I was going to give it credit for. I wanted to give it a shot because it looked kind of humorous, but it's actually very funny. And I couldn't tell you I couldn't tell you who Bill Pullman, which political leaning his character is supposed to have, because it's not a political show at all, even though it's about the presidency and the White House. It's about the family that occupies the White House. And Skip is annoying, but he's probably the funniest character on there, I think. Because he's completely clueless, and it's really awesome. We also watched Saturday Night Live. I was a lot happier with Andy Samberg and some of the older cast before the brand newer ones came in, but I'm adapting. But we watched that. And I primarily watch it for the Weekend Update with Seth Meyer. Not necessarily for Seth Meyer, but because the Weekend Update has always been my favorite segment on the show. And if there's a really good guest, that's great, but there hasn't been a really good guest in a while. I mean, a really, really good guest. I would not consider Justin Bieber a great guest host. I would not consider the The Waltz guy. He was. I did not like him at all.
Oh,
the German, the Austrian. Yeah, the Austrian. I was not a big fan of his. We also watched Whitney. Whitney Cummings, I believe, is her real name. And that's a pretty good show, too. That one has the heavy-handedness also, but they concentrate on things that are other than political. I mean, it's a sitcom, but it just seems, I don't know, maybe I'm old and sophisticated now, but it's just...
Want to make sure my laughter is
yeah, it'll get on air, don't worry. I don't know, it just seems like I am noticing that you could see in the first couple of minutes what the show is going to be about, and I don't ever remember knowing what a show was going to be about right from the get-go. And that, I don't know, it just seems a little weird. So that's what I'm watching on TV. Things I would be watching. And most of these are going to be because CBS is not on Hulu. Okay? So I can't get these shows anywhere. And it's very distressing.
Well, technically we do have over-the-air signal from CBS, but we are almost never here to watch it.
We don't like appointment TV, and I'm not going to watch CBS Live just to see these shows. That and the commercials we have to put up with on Hulu compared to the commercials we would have to put up with on TV are two different scenarios altogether. But the new Hawaii Five-0. I was watching off of CBS.com after the shows would air. Something happened to where I fell a couple episodes behind, but I was still kind of keeping up. And then about 9 episodes into the first season, I had fallen more than 5 behind, and then it starts skipping because they only put 5 online at a time. I was really discouraged, but I was trying to keep up. I missed a couple more weeks, and then I was like 4 or 5 behind more than I was, and at that point I was missing so much of the first season that I didn't understand the subplot arc that was going on. Now I believe they're going into season 3, and I have no place to watch it. I like Grace Park. I like the Korean guy from Lost. I like the main actor's name. He was on Moonlight. I'm terrible. I don't even mind the... I don't mind any of the main characters. I like them. We would also be watching Two Broke Girls. While I found the premise a little hokey, and I don't really like the cafe they worked in, it looks like they have moved beyond the cafe, for the most part at least, and I would be interested in seeing that. But that's another show we fell a couple of behind, and then we fell further behind, and pretty soon we just couldn't get it anywhere, because I don't think CBS even has them online anymore. Yeah, and the last time I checked, I believe we were watching Survivor, and we had watched an episode of Survivor, and we had Big Brother, and we fell 6 episodes behind on Big Brother, and at that point, there's no point in watching. Big Bang Theory. I liked Big Bang Theory when it was about jokes from nerds. Now it's jokes about nerds, but I would still be watching it. However, CBS has an issue with putting things online. How I Met Your Mother, another show we would be watching. How I Met Your Mother, though, I have noticed that where we left off is now available on Netflix. I just have to figure out the exact episode that we left off on, and we can watch the rest of that season and then just wait for the next season to pop in. So Big Bang Theory might also be on Netflix. I'll have to check that out. Falling Skies, I'm not sure what channel that's on. It's about an alien invasion. At the post-alien invasion. Like the aliens invaded, and now we're trying to get the Earth back. I don't know what channel it's on. I don't know how to get it. I don't know where to look for it. It's not on Hulu, and it's not on Netflix, so I don't know what to do. Then, of course, the companion to Community, Cougar Town. TBS put the first episode online for free, and since then have locked down every episode that goes online. Not smart, because now we're not watching it at all. We don't subscribe to cable, therefore we have no way to verify that we have a subscription to cable. Therefore, we're not watching TBS at all. So what TBS is saying is subscribers are more important than everybody else, but they're just locking out people that are interested in their programming. It doesn't make any sense to me, and at this point, I don't care. Cougar Town's done for me, at least at this point. There's one other channel that needs to be a lot smarter with its programming, and I understand why they're doing what they're doing, but I don't agree that it should be the only option, and that was HBO. HBO doesn't do any of their own advertising, so the cable companies do the advertising for them. Therefore, they don't want to provide their programming without having some sort of verification that you are a subscriber to HBO. Now, where HBO is okay doing that and TBS is not, is TBS isn't premium content. It's kind of Cougar Town and a bunch of reruns of other shows. And Conan. And we can get Conan on an app. So I don't understand why Cougar Town can't be on an app. But HBO has shows we would watch. The two that come immediately to mind that I wrote down are True Blood and Game of Thrones. I started reading the books Game of Thrones, and then I stopped. We just watched the first 2 seasons. Did you read any of the books?
I couldn't even get past the first couple chapters.
The books were really tough to get through, and I mean I did slog through the entire first book and probably two or three chapters of the second book, but I stopped there. There's just so much going on, and there's so much to pay attention to, and it's just the books are so long, and the show boils down the books to exactly the information that you need to progress the story, and that's all you really need. And I enjoyed the Game of Thrones, but those are the two that pop to mind right away. I also understand that we would have access to all the past content. So I mean, I would watch The Sopranos. I would rewatch Carnival. I would rewatch Rome. Hung. We would watch Hung. We were watching that. I'm not super enthused about. I mean, I wasn't super into that, but I mean, we stopped. We don't have access to it, so we haven't watched enough of it to basically lose my interest almost entirely. There's other things on that channel, though. I don't know about Boardwalk Empire. I don't know enough about it. I would say that HBO would be smart to... I would pay $15 a month to have an app on my phone, on my Apple TV, to watch HBO. $15 a month. But I am not subscribing to cable to do that. It's not happening. Ever. I also wanted to include movies that I am looking forward to this year.
What about stuff on Hulu that we watch, like Misfits?
Oh.
And
yes.
when I watch Booth at the End. Or...
This is about me. All what I'm watching. Anyway, some of the things on Hulu that I didn't write down that we are watching are Misfits, the BBC show. It's interesting and good, and everybody I've referred to it finds it interesting and good. Although there's a lot of people I don't mention it to because I think that they will turn their nose up at it, or the humor isn't really up their alley. It is a bit of an acquired taste, but once you're in, basically you're in completely. Some of the characters, the original 5 characters were great, and we've had a complete cast shift through season 4. 4 was the new one? Through season 4, we have a completely different cast than season 1. Which is fine. I mean, I still find some of the characters interesting. They're not all great, but you know, there's some of them are still brand new, and I'm figuring them out. But the show is still good. I'm very interested in what's going on. I can't wait for the next season to come out, or series as they call them over there. My wife is watching Booth at the End, and I think I'm going to start watching Booth at the End. Whites, I'm going to start watching just to shoot through them. We watched the British version of Being Human. Not on Hulu, but on Netflix we have it. We're kind of in the middle of that. Walking Dead I did not put down. We were watching that, but because we only watch it on Netflix, we are a season behind. So, I'm sorry? She still watches Weeds. The 6th season really was the end for me. Season 7, I'm not really interested in at all.
I haven't seen any more than you have.
We're into season 7, but I'm not interested in season 7 at all. The Showtime shows and HBO. Showtime, there's some that interest me, but not nearly as many as the HBO. HBO could almost put anything in front of me and I'll watch it, whereas Showtime has to work a little harder. I don't know. So, back to the movies. The movies that I'm interested in seeing for the upcoming year, in general, basically. There's the ongoing Marvel Entertainment or Marvel Studios line of movies. For instance, Iron Man 3 will be coming out this year. I'm pretty sure Thor Dark World will also be coming out this year, maybe towards the end of this year. Building up for the Avengers 2 in 2015. I am very interested in seeing the Prometheus sequel, which should be at this point called Paradise. And it should be showing us the engineer's home planet, which I am very excited to see. Now, I know that Prometheus got a bad rap, but as I have personally discovered, we both watched Prometheus in the theater, and Trisha came out angry, and I wasn't very impressed. I mean, I was impressed by the visuals and stuff, but the story kind of left me like, eh. So what I did was I acquired myself a copy and watched it again. And I understood a whole bunch more the second viewing. I have now watched it, I think, 7 or 8 more times than just that first in the theater viewing. And I understand and thoroughly enjoy Prometheus now, whereas that one viewing did leave a bad taste in my mouth. So I really encourage you, if you did not find Prometheus impressive, to rewatch it and pay attention to different things, basically, because there is a whole lot going on there that you're going to miss. I missed it the first time, and I know others have missed it the first time. Just give it another shot. But I'm very interested in Paradise. I'm also very interested in Star Trek Into Darkness, because I, as a Star Trek fan, judge all Star Trek movies, against the Wrath of Khan, or had judged against the Wrath of Khan. So, the Wrath of Khan was the best Star Trek movie until the 2009 Star Trek movie of J.J. Abrams. That is now the movie by which all other Star Trek movies will be judged, because that movie was so awesome. It did everything it needed to do, and it was that awesome for it. And something that kind of took me off guard, and had I not shown Trisha and just told her the title of this movie, she would also not be interested in it. Pacific Rim. I was digging through Apple TV trailers one night, and I just decided, okay, let's check out this Pacific Rim, because I heard some people talking about it, and I heard them saying that they're very interested in it, and I didn't know anything about it. So I started playing it. And if you've never heard of it, let me just give you the premise based on the trailer, because that's all I know. Giant monsters from under the ocean taking on giant robots created by us. Monsters versus robots. Giant robots. I'm very, very interested in Pacific Rim now. And I'm pretty sure she is too. So that is what I am watching, or will be watching, or I'm looking forward to, that I wanted to put out there. As far as I'm positive I missed stuff. So I mean, there's probably things I'm watching that I didn't mention. And I know that there's movies that I'm going to watch this year that I didn't mention. I'm going to see Man of Steel. I'm very interested in that. I was looking forward to the Green Lantern sequel, but it doesn't sound like there's going to be a sequel anymore. I don't know. I didn't find that movie nearly as bad as everybody else did. And the problem with that movie is people either said it needed to be more on Earth or it needed to be more in space. Now, I'm on the more in space part, but I still enjoyed the movie. I don't really enjoy Ryan Reynolds in that large of a dose, but I can live with it. It's just how I roll. I am working. I wrote a pilot story for a series that I'm working on. I'm just going to call this series, for lack of a better working title, Starscape. It's a space series, science fiction. The short story has been written, the basis, and that short story, I just wanted to get kind of a feel for how I was going to write this thing. And I don't know if that short story is ever going to be released as is, but that short story is the basis of an adventure later on, because that sets up what will be discovered later on. So basically, there are things that happen in this pilot story that are going to be revealed later on. I just don't know if I'm going to release the story as is on the air. I have also, like I said, started writing Dark Green. The subtitle to that, I think I've put this out there already, is Forever Winter. There's a reason for that. The main character's name is Winter. Surprise! And I want to continue the vampire theme, so I mean, I'm going to use Dark Green as a way to explore the world of darkness as White Wolf / Onyx Path has created it. Speaking of not Onyx Path, World of Darkness, the Echoes Darkly podcast, netcast. I've lost one co-host, and I believe I have another one. We'll just see how that works if my new co-host can show up, and that would be Bob. I would also like to have Bob on the Lime Flavored Show at some point. I would also like to have Kyle on the Lime Flavored Show at some point. Maybe we'll have a story time with Uncle DJ, because that's something Kyle enjoys, my stories. I'll have to make sure that my wife is out of the room or out of town for that one, because she hates my stories, because she's heard them all.
15 years.
Yep, 15 years worth of it. I think that's pretty much it.
I've heard 3 years worth of stories for 15 years.
She's heard 3 years, three years worth of stories for 15 years. Yes, 99% of my stories are Navy stories, because I have a lot of funny Navy stories. The third or fourth time you've heard them, though, and unless you're Kyle, you don't get a lot out of it. Now, I should also point out, and I will tell these on the air at some point. What I want Kyle to do is prompt me, because that's how I remember these things. I mean, I can remember a story here and there, but Kyle says things that gets me to remember the stories to tell him in the first place. But I do embellish them a little bit. Some of them are embellished, and Bob can. Well, I thought Bob could corroborate a couple of them, but I actually told Bob a couple of the stories, and he's like, "I don't remember that," and he was a part of it. So I'll try to get Bob on to. I'll coax him through trying to remember it. I'll have to back off the embellishment on those stories, because he was a part of it. It was he was there for that. The others that were there, I don't know, would be able to remember that far back. They weren't. I don't know. Bob and I spent a lot of time together in the Navy, and that's kind of where that goes. So this episode has been live. Let's see. Next episode's March 4th. At this point, I don't intend for next week to be live. I'd like to get Bob on. Not necessarily live. I'd also like to get Kyle on. Kyle, I would do live. We'll see Kyle's availability. But at this point, next week isn't necessarily live. You will be getting another Limelight on Apple, episode 2, on Wednesday. We do plan on doing that one live, I believe at 8 p.m. Central at this point.
Oh, sorry, am I supposed to be listening?
8 p.m. Central for Limelight on Apple, episode 2.
I think I know what my app is.
Okay. So we'll do that on the 27th, and then after that we'll determine whether or not we want to do it live every time. We may do it live a couple more times after that, but we'll see. The Echoes Darkly, because I believe Bob will be joining me this weekend on Saturday, I'm going to attempt to do it live one more time. If Bob doesn't join me live again, I'm going to go back to all pre-produced. I just lost my one viewer. That's a bummer. I'll go back to pre-produced, so we'll go from there. But I'd like to, I mean, if he's going to be there on a regular basis, I'd like to still do it live because we do get a lot of flow from that live show specifically, because there's a lot of people interested in the World of Darkness. I am talking with the players currently for the Green Team game, and we are working out how to play at this point. Because I messed up Sundays bad, and it's my fault completely, and I really still do want to play, but I don't know about broadcasting audio anymore at this point, and we're working on that. So I'll keep you up to speed on that as it comes to me. I want to thank you for joining me, or in this case, I want to thank the one viewer for joining me live. And if you are watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching it. A fully produced episode will come after, like it normally does. I'll leave this one up for at least 24 hours. And this was brought to you by Trish's Bakery at trishasbakery.com for all your people and pet needs. We make dog treats, hats, and we sell items made by about 30 different vendors at the store. Trish's made in North Dakota, I should point that out. Pride of Dakota, which is officially the Department of Agriculture of North Dakota's organization, I believe. Okay. So then that's TRICIASBAKERY.com. And you can shop online, and we ship. I don't know about out of the country at this point, but we definitely ship inside the United States. So you can reach me on limeflavor.com, where you can find our Facebook link and our Google Plus link and our YouTube link. You can reach me through email at officiallimeflavored@gmail.com, also Trump's Hair for President @gmail.com. If you're writing in about Echoes Darkly, you can reach me at echoesdarkly@gmail.com. See a theme there? I'm trying to get the shows, but I haven't gotten any feedback. On the Echoes Darkly, I have been contemplating doing a contest. I'm thinking about doing a contest here as well. I'd like some feedback on that if you're interested in it. And we'll figure that out from there. So thank you for joining me. And as always, stay classy, San Diego. I don't want to use Will Ferrell's line. No, I shouldn't get in the habit of that. On my columns I used to write, I always ended with "think on it." I don't know about that either, but we'll see about next time. So we'll see you in the future. Bye.